Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. About Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold was the son of Thomas Arnold, a famous head teacher at Rugby School, so it is perhaps no surprise that he worked for the 19th century equivalent of Ofsted as an inspector of schools. However, he is much better remembered as a poet, critic and essayist. Matthew Arnold's poetry is elegant, reflective and meditative, while his commentaries on 19th century culture were extremely influential. His essays on Culture and Anarchy, 1869, argued that culture did not belong simply to an educated elite. He advocated an openness to change, while being aware, in poems such as Dover Beach, of the doubts and uncertainties surrounding faith in turbulent times. The education of the individual was, for Arnold, vital in a journey towards intellectual sweetness and moral light. His poems continue to be read for the power of their majestic sadness and for the skillful, heartfelt descriptions of nature and significant moments in his life. The poem Dover Beach. Arnold wrote Dover Beach around 1850, at a time when faith in God and religion seemed threatened by developments in scientific understanding and evolutionary theory. Although it is a poem about Arnold's response to a spiritual crisis, it begins by capturing a moment in the physical world when Arnold is looking out towards France from a Dover beach. How does he convey a sense of tranquility and intense melancholy in those first 14 lines? Can a poem be both sad and beautiful? Think about the pathetic fallacy, when a poet projects human feelings such as sadness onto inanimate objects, for example, the sea. Incidentally, notice how the first 28 lines are arranged loosely as two sonnets, and then the final stanza begins a little like a sonnet, but, after the first 8 lines, it finishes with a powerful, climactic 9th line. The poem may deal with sadness, misery and pain, but there is also hope and consolation as Arnold turns to his companion at the start of the final stanza. Now we will begin with the first stanza. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits, on the French coast the light gleams and is gone, the cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air. Only, from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back, and fling, at their return, up the high strand, begin, and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Analyzing the first stanza, the sea is calm tonight. The tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits. Literary speaking, we have the sea. Someone is talking about the sea, telling us about the sea. What about the sea? It is calm. Then he talks also about the tides. They go higher and they are full, and then he talking about the moon. It lies upon the straits. The word strait means a small passage of water. The moon here is reflected in the water, which means that the water is settled. On the French coast the light gleams and is gone. What is the French coast is doing here? The speaker is describing the place which is called the Dover Beach. Dover Beach is in England. You need to cross the sea in order to reach there, but when you stand on one of the cliffs and you look across the sea, you will be able to see the French coast. The lights are gleaming and gone. They are twinkling. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Also he is talking about the cliffs of England. They are glimmering and vast. Glimmering, this means that their color is white to be able to glimmer at night under the light of the moon. It signifies that it is white color. Out in the tranquil bay. Also the bay is calm, silent, tranquil. Let us not to took this kind of metaphorical way. Let us pretend that he is talking about a sea. Come to the window, sweet is the night air. What is he saying here? It indicated that he is in company with someone. Dover Beach is a place for honeymoon. Couples will go there for honeymoon, so we assume that this person is newly/recently married. It is also famous of being a place for committing suicide as well. He is coming to the window. What is he telling her? He is telling her that the air is sweet and nice. What mood can you make from the first 6 lines? What do you think the mood the poet is trying to create? Peaceful, calm, romantic. And you can say happiness to some extent. You do not sense any danger coming. You do not sense that anything wrong might happen. Only, from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back, and fling, at their return, up the high strand, begin, and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. As we said in the beginning, he described what he sees. Now he is talking about what he listens to, hears. The mood changes to be sad. Roar is not quite nice sound at all. Pebbles are the small rocks on the beach. Then they are going and then they come back. The waves are flinging and then return. There is a movement rather than it is tranquil, calm, quiet, settled. Now it is kind of different. And then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Cadence means the rhythm. The rhythm is chaotic in a way. There is sound and then there is sadness. This is kind of recurrently in the poem. Notice that this sadness is not just for now, it is eternal. The summary of the first stanza. It is a description of the landscape in which the poet describes the sea. He says it is calm and quiet, etc. The mood that you made in the beginning is peace and tranquility. And then the poet is trying a little bit to manipulating feelings. He wants to combine this happiness with sadness. After that he listens to the sound of the sea and the waves. So, what he sees is pretty and what he hears is terrifying in a way. Now we will talk about the second stanza. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean. Sophocles is a playwright. He is the writer of Oedipus the King. We have what we call Oedipus complex. So, Sophocles is used to be a writer and he wrote mainly tragedies. There is kind of reference/allusion to historical figure. Aegean is another sea. You can see the connection. It is him in the present and now he remembers things happened in the past. He says that this writer Sophocles has heard the same sound back in history when he was sitting on the Aegean Sea. And it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. In a way, he says that this sound of sadness influenced his writings in a way that it helped him to explore about human misery. What helped the writer Sophocles to explore or dive in the human misery and the human tragedy/the human problems and troubles is the sound of the sea. It is what the poet is claiming. Apparently, he feels the same thing. So, he makes a connection. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. It is a clear connection, a clear link. He says yes, in the past this happened and nowadays we find the same sound, we find the same idea, we find the same poet. What is the purpose? What does that serve? It is the very same idea of situating yourself in historical context. He says this happened in the past and is repeated. A part of this human history is the same. Some poets would use it to show off, to challenge the reader to know what I know. It is showing off. Apparently this is not the purpose here, especially with the link or the connection, just to say that this happened in the past and that he feels that it is happening again to him in a way, sort of a link, just making connection with the past. Now we have the third stanza. The sea of faith was once, too, at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating, to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. The sea of faith was once, too, at the full, and round earth's shore. Here we need to think a little bit more deep about the poem. What is he saying? He is talking about the sea of faith. This is a metaphor. What is the sea of faith? Let's say religion. As you would see for some Victorian poets, they felt the urgency to call people back to religion after all the scientific progress. After all development, people started to abandon religion, so some of the Victorian poets or writers thought that it is their responsibility to call people back to religion. So, what does he say about the sea of faith? He talks about the past was one. So, faith was like a sea. In what way? What is the comparison? What is the connection between the sea and faith? They were kind of full and round Earth's shore. The earth was full of faith in a way. The same as with seas, it is big, huge. So, religion or faith was once a huge thing, a big thing to people. Was this good or not for the poet? It was good. Lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. Girdle? It is belt, which is used usually for what? Usually women would wear girdles or a belt when they gather the crops, harvest, in order to protect their vintages. When they do hard labor, they use this to protect their vintages. Lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. You can see the simile. Religion was like a belt that is protecting people. Now he says a different thing. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar. The word withdrawing means go back. That is what is happening to religion. It was once something powerful in a good way. Now it is only sad that it is withdrawing. Retreating. To the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges, drear and naked shingles of the world. What is he saying? What happened to the world after this loss of faith? It is naked. It is not safe, not protect. It is exposed to danger. In the second stanza, with Sophocles, it is the same idea, sound, sadness, misery. It happens again. In the third stanza, it happens also. I only hear its melancholy, withdrawing roar. Again it is the very same idea of sound that brings sadness. Here we have the fourth stanza, love, let us be true to one another. For the world, which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain, and we are here as on a darkling plain swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Love, let us be true to one another. For the world, which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. He is talking to his wife, his love. What is he asking her to do? He is asking her to love each other, to be true to each other / to be honest. Why is that? Why is he calling her? We said that they are probably newly married. What makes him feel threatened? What is his perspective on the modern life? This is a critique of a modern life, by the way. The world which seems to lie before us, the world in front of us, the world he is living in is like a land of dreams. It seems like a land of dreams, but in reality, it is so various, so beautiful, so new. He says, in reality, it is neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. That is what he believes in / how he sees the world. What about it again? You can be deceived. It might look to you as something that is beautiful and various. He is talking about the chances that were open, especially when we are talking about jobs and human relationships. It was open. Communities were big, huge. Communities and opportunities were huge and promising. The world was promising and welcoming. However, he says, in reality it has no joy, no love. It is the most important thing. It is a big problem for him, no light, no certitude. It is like being certain of something, nor peace. This is another important thing. Apparently it happened during the war, and sadly nor sympathy, nor help for pain. We do not sympathize with each other. We do not feel each other, apparently because we are too busy in our lives. As we said, these few lines could be interpreted as critique for the modern world and new values of the new people in the new world. In a way, he is sad because of the loss of the good values, the good morals that were before, to sympathize with each other, to feel joy the little things. And he also to lament peace is a big thing. And we are here as on a darkling plain swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. It is a very same idea that he is missing peace. What is happening in this world is war and fights. It is not safe. We are swept by confused alarms. Is he saying that we are aware for everything? Are we conscious about the alarm, about the danger? No. We are swept by the confused alarm. He is probably talking about politics. The poem is very romantic on the surface, but there are things implied. Armies, mean soldiers. They clash by night. That is all what is happening in the new world. What we see is clashes, fights. In terms of form, you can say that this poem is a dramatic monologue apparently because there is a speaker, there is a listener and there is a dramatic context. There is a crisis, a critical moment he is talking about. The speaker is Matthew Arnold himself because when he wrote the poem, he was recently married, so it is a lyrical poem. So, we are not sure if it is dramatic monologue, but most likely I will say it is dramatic monologue because if it is Matthew Arnold, he would say I was writing this poem, and usually writers like to distance themselves and to reveal too much about their lives. The form and the meter in the poem. The general meter is iambic pentameter, but then it is elective or selective, it is irregular iambic pentameter. Line 1, the sea is calm tonight. The sea, unstressed stressed is calm, unstressed stressed tonight, unstressed stressed. Line 32, so various, so beautiful, so new, unstressed stressed, unstressed stressed, unstressed stressed. Lines 33, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, hath unstressed really stressed, unstressed neither stressed / unstressed joy stressed nor unstressed love stressed nor unstressed light stressed, so it is iambic pentameter. Line 34, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain, nor unstressed. Certitude, stressed unstressed stressed. 3 syllables. Nor peace, unstressed stressed. Nor help, unstressed stressed. For pain, unstressed stressed. So, it is a good example of iambic pentameter. Line 37, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, swept, stressed with, unstressed confused, stressed unstressed alarms, unstressed stressed of, unstressed struggle, stressed unstressed and, unstressed flight, stressed. Overall the line is iambic except for the first foot. The first foot is trochaic, stressed unstressed. The second one, confused, is another trochaic, stressed unstressed. And then almost the lines covers the iambic pentameter. So, this line is irregular. In terms of the rhyme scheme, can you see any line rhyming? Tonight light, seems dreams, flight night, pain plain. The rhyme scheme is again irregular. The tone, in the beginning it is peaceful and then it turns to be sad and romantic. We could say that the poem is romantic, I mean a little bit deeper in that. Please, do not forget to like, subscribe, share my channel.